Hey, and welcome to the FilmStance Morning Edition, where we basically talk about whatever we want because it's the morning. My name's Caleb Allen. I'm here with CK Hicks.
That was pretty good.
And I have a sore throat this morning because last night I went and played night golf with a buddy of mine, and it wasn't cold or anything, but I think the humidity and just the dry air got to me.
What? So in night golf, do you play like where you don't get to see the hole and you just have to guess where it is, or
Yeah,
how?
exactly. No, it was lit. It was a lit par three, which, basically if you don't hit where the lights are, you just lose your ball and
You
go
just give up
get
and start
another one.
over.
Just get another one.
It's just like, well,
If you
that's done.
if you hit just a little bit outside of the light, there's no way you're gonna find the ball. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I'll do some extra talking for you today.
that'd be
Uh,
appreciated.
so one thing that has really caught my attention this week is Mad Max Fury Road, which
Huh.
is doing incredibly well. I have not seen it yet, and to be honest, I don't really plan to because, at least not in theaters, because of just the excessive amounts of violence that people are talking about. I saw one review that said if this film is meant to show us 10 minutes of humanity in an inhuman world, let's not forget the other 110 minutes of content because it's getting rave reviews. It's got a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got an 8.7 on IMDb. If you contrast that to the original has a 7. But so just for some context, an 8.7 is not easy to do. The original Lord of the Rings Fellowship is an 8.8. Avengers, which just came out, is an 8.0. And Dark Knight is a 9.0. So if you put it in perspective with these other films that are out, it's doing incredibly well.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't understand why. I understand there's a cult following there, and the original has a lot of following to it. I do plan on seeing the original really soon, but I don't get this one, Caleb. I'm not sure what's going on.
No, it doesn't really fit. It doesn't really fit the film stance model. You mentioned the Rotten Tomatoes, and I wanted to go see if that number you were quoting was the critic score or the audience score. They're actually really close. They're both over 90. That's
Crazy.
unheard of on Rotten Tomatoes because usually if an audience score is high, critic score is low, and if critic score is high, audience score is low. But it's insane. So apparently the critics think it's really good too, like almost 100%. I've never seen a movie score this high, honestly, on Rotten Tomatoes because they're very, very picky.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of unheard of for it to get this kind of ranking early on as what is this, the third or fourth one in the saga, and then to stick there. And it's one thing to come out and do a lot of splash damage at the beginning, and then as people slowly start to come in and see it, it drops a little bit. But I mean, it has maintained its rating, and everybody who is seeing is talking about it. And like I said, sorry, from the film stance perspective, I can't justify going to see this one in theaters because everything I'm reading, even the people who go and just really enjoy it, are saying, and it's really violent. So just be careful.
I mean, goodness gracious, the trailer was a blood fest. So I was like, just from the trailer, I knew this was not going to be something that I wanted to go sit and watch for. It's just not my speed. I don't mind violent movies, but when you get to the stuff like this, where it's just almost gratuitous, it might even be. I haven't seen it, so I can't label it. But anyways, I don't appreciate that kind of stuff.
Well, and I'm one. And film stance people know this, that I love war movies, and so I will go watch a war movie. I saw American Sniper twice in theaters, and own it now and stuff. It's just like I love a good depiction of a war film. These feel different, and there's just something about again, some people cry, hypocrite because I haven't seen it yet, but like these just feel different because the focus is on the society of killing, not on like the battle. And so we're not focused on the character who has to go through these things in order to survive. The film is about Thunderdome. It's about this society of killing. And I every now and then I just kind of want to like call foul and wave a little flag and say, let's not lose sight, of like that review wisely said, let's not lose sight of these other 110 minutes, that if we're trying to tell a 10-minute story, if that's what it boils down to, let's not lose sight of what we have to do to get there. So
I was just looking at IMDb because you were talking about You're talking about that. Do you realize IMDb has a movie meter that ranks all the movies? Guess what movie's #1 right now?
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so let's type in Star Wars or something. Let's type in what would be the most popular Star Wars? You're the Star Wars guy, not me.
It depends on your generation.
Probably the fourth one.
Yeah, I mean,
The first one, whatever, the first one. Okay, so the movie meter for that is in the top 500, but doesn't even have like the actual rank.
oh my
Mad Max
goodness.
is number stinking one of
Well,
all the movies ever made in IMDb right now.
and it's kind of funny because you look at another one that just came out recently, Age of Adeline, which was a great film and it has a 7.3. Again, this is kind of a polar shift from from Mad Max, but it's at 36 right now. Now it's dropping because less people are going to see it. More people are going to see things like Pitch Perfect and some of these other things that have come out recently. But it is interesting to see. Yeah, Pitch Perfect is a 2 right now. So I'm thinking that must just be like cult.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's how popular it is at the moment. But even still, like you would think Avengers would still be there if
Yeah,
that was the case. It's 4.
I guess there is something to hope for because San Andreas is coming out and it's at a 33 and rising. So there's a saving grace for Mad Max. I mean, we can go see San Andreas instead. No.
Rotten Tomatoes is sub 50% on that one, so hey, we might actually like it. I doubt it.
No,
I doubt it.
That's another one that actually I had a friend of mine who wanted to see it and he's like, it looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. And it's like, it's a disaster movie.
It's Dwayne Johnson. It's like an Adam Sandler thing for it's what Adam Sandler is to comedy is what Dwayne Johnson is to action. It's just
Now, Tomorrowland is doing pretty well, actually. It's at number 9 on IMDb. It only has a 6.9, though, not getting killer ratings. But
I've heard really not great things about it being super unoriginal. But anyways, if any of these movies that we're talking about, the ones that we haven't seen for sure, just either because we haven't made it to the theater yet to see them or we don't plan to, in the case of Mad Max, feel free to comment and let us know if you disagree with that and why, so that we can maybe change our minds and go at least comment on it. Because a lot of times if something is popular and controversial enough, even if it's not what we would generally put on our list, we will put it on our list so that we can address it. For instance, we just started watching the new Planet of the Apes series. We watched one of them Tuesday. We're going to watch one tonight probably, and then combine them to mention something about them, because we've heard recently, even though they're not super recent movies, we've heard recently that they were very good and not what we had expected, and so we wanted to address that. So again, if Mad Max is one of those that we're just totally missing something, from all the reviews that we can see so far, we don't think we're missing anything. But if you think that we're missing something, feel free to comment and let us know so that we can maybe address that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is something that like with the Planet of the Apes films, I avoided those for a while just based on the premise. But it finally got enough buzz that I was like, okay, I've got to devote some time and actually go and watch this now. And it has been good to get that exposure to something, and it is good as long as it's within the things that you consider acceptable content, or you have a way to filter out the stuff that isn't. Then I think it's good sometimes to get stretched a little bit.
Yeah, if you recommend Poltergeist to me, I don't think we're gonna add that one in. It's a little outside of what we're talking about, but yeah.
But it is good, it's good. Part of the goal with FilmStance in general is just to help show people that there are things that are true about the world, and there are things that are true in all of these stories. And so contrasting those and being willing to hold movies up to a consistent standard requires that you see a lot of different things, and maybe even things that are outside of what you would normally watch, because that gives you an opportunity to really test the worldview, to figure out what is the movie telling us, what is it teaching us, and is that is it good? Is it worth holding on to? Is it something that I want to walk out of the theater or pull the disc out of the Blu-ray player and say, that's something I'm gonna remember? Or is it something where I need to stop and engage it and say, now wait a minute, I'm gonna call foul on this, because what you said here doesn't line up to what is a good thing to keep in my mind. And again, you can say what you want about that, but at the end of the day, when you get to the end of your life, you're going to have a whole series of opportunities to have addressed this kind of stuff, and you only get one shot at this. So at least we got to be accountable with it, and we got to know what we're putting in our brains.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like we said, if you disagree, let us know. Until that happens, Mad Max is probably not on our list. So, but that's the Film Stance Morning Edition. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm gonna go try to get rid of this stupid sore throat.
Yeah, I feel better, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And my kids have chicken pox, so we're just a sick house right now.
Yeah, that's just no good. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will catch you next week.